Okay, so the question before us is, if I load a file onto Canvas, can someone steal it and reuse it for their own purposes? And the answer is yes, that certainly is possible. If you decide that you don't want to leave a file up on Canvas for an extended period of time, you can always remove it. But you'll have to do more than just remove it from a link in your module. In order to remove a file from Canvas, you'll have to go to your file manager, which is your files link here. And if you want to remove a file, you just find the file in your file list here in your course files folder and go to the context menu associated with that file. In the just move out to the right along the detail line for the file in the file manager display and select delete, and that will remove it completely from Canvas.
Okay.
If you could pretty much ensure that no one would find it if you just or your students would not find it if you just remove the link to it in your modules, which you can do by going to the module, finding here's a file upload, and in the module you can remove the link to the file, but that doesn't remove it from the file manager. If you want to make it at least very difficult for your students to ever find that file without removing it from Canvas, you can just hide the files link in the course menu from your students, which normally is a good idea, because the students can reach their own files from their account link up here, so you don't have to provide them file access in your course. And you can do that by you can get rid of that link in your course by going to File, to Settings, Navigation, and dragging that link down below the line in the menu display under Navigation, and then saving the change. And now it would be very difficult, relatively difficult for them to access that. But to be sure, you'll need to just delete the file from Canvas. If you need to put it back up later, you always can.
A question, Dave.
Yes.
If you embed, when you say the word embed, it means when you allow access to anything in your modules or your syllabus or anything, on the left-hand side, are those called pages where it says home, announcements, assignments? Is that what you call pages?
No, pages in Canvas are content pages, basically web pages that you can find all the pages in your course under the Pages tool.
Okay, other question. If you put a file in a module, does it automatically put it into the file folder or whatever you would call it on the left-hand side?
Yes.
Okay,
that's where the file actually lives.
Okay.
What goes into the module is just a link to that file. So when you add a file to a module by going to the plus sign at the top of the module and selecting File and New File, the file will be uploaded to your file manager, but the link to it will be placed in your module at the same time. So that combines both of those processes. You could upload the file directly to the file manager and then later make a link to it in the module, but it's more efficient to do both at the same time by adding the file through the Modules tool rather than through the Files tool.
Okay, so are you saying that most of everything you're going to include for your class is going to be put in the module? And what would you call the left-hand side? Let's get some.
This is the course menu.
Okay, course menu. Okay, so
these are mostly what we call tools. well, tools that you can use for various purposes in Canvas.
Okay,
The
so
announcement tool allows you to send announcements. The assignments tool lists all of your gradable items in the course, including your quizzes and your gradable discussions, in one place so you can find them quickly.
where do you
It
put
also
tests?
allows you to create homework assignments.
Where do you put tests?
Tests are automatically stored in your quizzes tool. To Canvas, every test is a quiz, whether it's a pop quiz or a final exam. They all go here, but you can put links to them in the modules, and indeed you can create tests from within the modules just as you can just about anything else by creating a quiz. But the quiz will actually be stored in the quizzes tool and file area here.
Okay,
So that's where you go to see all your tests.
Okay, so the same applies for a file that you're putting into your module. It would also, if you add the quiz to, let's say, an assignment, it will automatically put it in the quizzes.
Anytime you create a quiz, which you can do either from the modules tool or from the quizzes tool, the quiz will live here in the quizzes tool. That's where it's actually stored, but you can put links to it into your modules.
Okay. What's better?
Well, it's definitely better to make modules and present your content to your students in modules, because the content is better organized and the students don't have to go looking around the course menu to find it. They just go to there's only one place they have to go in that event. That's to the modules tool, and everything they need is in there. And they don't have to know that, oh, I can go find the quiz in the quizzes tool. Indeed, there's a school of thought that says that you probably don't want to provide them access to either assignments or quizzes through the course menu, that you want to force them to get it, to access your quizzes and your assignments and your graded discussions through the modules, because there the links are presented in context with the content that they're supposed to avail themselves of before they take the quiz or turn in the homework assignment. So very often you'll find these assignment and quizzes tools hidden from students. And that's generally the recommended practice.
Okay.
And make them go to the module and find it in context with the other stuff you want them to look at first. Otherwise, there are students who will just go and try to take the quizzes and try to, draw to an inside straight and get their way through without having to put in the work. Surely it wouldn't happen.
Okay, so what you're saying is what you're looking at as a professor versus what they actually are viewing is two separate things. Although you can put things in assignments, they won't have access to it unless you put it in.
Right. I can hide any of these menu options from students using that trick I showed you with the navigation tab under settings.
Okay.
And you can force them to go and find everything in their modules. And I tell you what, Joe, let me give Kathy a chance here for a second, and I'll come right back to you, okay?
Sure.
Sure.
So
Kathy,
there are 3 of us? We've gone from 200 plus to 3.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably a good sign.
So I have several questions there, Dave.
Okay, let's let you get a few in here.
Let's see. Let me go back to chat and see what they are.
Oh, right.
Okay, what am I doing to cause Zoom to send me notices when I haven't scheduled a meeting? I get them all times of day and night.
Did you set your personal meeting room to join before host?
Yes.
Every time somebody joins, you get an email.
Okay, so take it off.
And I don't know There may be a way to stop that, but I've never found it because I like to get the emails. I like to know if people are in there. Sometimes I just pop in and see, you know, is there anything I can do, something like that. So,
Oh,
yes,
so
that,
right. So one of the reasons I'm leaving it open is I've told them if they want to go in and talk to each other at any time, they can.
I think that's a wonderful thing.
So just deal with the emails.
Right. I just delete them every day. Excuse me.
All right.
I'll be right there.
Sure.
Just close the door here. Free my wife from attending the meeting.
Speaking of your wife, I think, what did the students used to say? A shout out to her, because I'm sure there are chores that are not getting done.
Well, there are things she's having to do that, yes, I will pass that along. Thank you.
Okay, so my typing's really good here too. I realized when I was grading papers last night, I can put comments in that little rectangle on the right-hand side, but I don't know how to insert them in the text. I forgot how to do that. Can you? Oh,
the markup tool. Yeah, let's take a look at that. All righty. Let me pull up NS. I don't think I have anything in this course that I can illustrate that with, so let me go to another one here. Just go to the grades. Grade book is that's my preferred method of finding what needs grading, because you can just scroll through the grade book and see right off the bat, and oops, there doesn't appear to be anything in here that's not graded. Well, let me find one that you can always regrade anything, but grading. There's one. Maybe this one's still got something that's not graded.
Maybe we should then also review regrading, because I'm sure that's going to have to happen.
Okay. Yeah, it's basically the same process.
Okay.
You just don't have a little, well, this one I've graded everything too. So the process is the same. The process is the same.
Screen share.
I'm sorry?
I need to leave chat. Sorry. There we go. Okay.
All right, you seeing my grade book here?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, here's here's an assignment, or a homework assignment. If this had not been graded, it would have the little a little symbol there.
Right.
And you've seen that, you've been doing that. Right. But you can always go back and revisit that grade by clicking on the number and going into the Speedgrader exactly the same way. You're probably getting really familiar with that by now. And go back to the Speedgrader. And everything that you've done before, all the comments you've made, the grade, everything will be there.
Okay.
Still. So you can add new comments, though, at any time.
All right.
And in any of the ways that I've showed you, either just typing the comments in, or if you're in Chrome, speaking the comments, or leaving them a little video, talking head video message, or even uploading something like a screencast file where you've gone through their paper in great detail and highlighted things and so on. But you can also use this markup tool, grading markup tool, if they have. I'll tell you what, let me absolutely verify what I'm about to tell you. Canvas Speedgrader markup tool file types. Speedgrader document types. What types of files? Okay, the file type. In order for you to be able to do this, your students have to upload their assignment, upload a file in their assignment. They doesn't appear that if they just type it into a text box that you can do annotation.
Oh, okay.
But if they upload it as a Word doc, an ODF file, which is an open office document file, and that seems to be pretty much it. Oh no, there's more. PowerPoints, PDFs are allowed. PDFs are allowed. PowerPoints, rich text format, and some I don't recognize. Excel spreadsheets and text TXT files. Let me send you this. Here's a document from Canvas. This document is official. That's good. Which are the types of files that can be previewed and annotated in Canvas. And it gives you a detailed description of what each one is.
But if they put it directly into Canvas in that rich text area, then it
I don't think that can be annotated.
All right.
I'll verify that. But here, let me send you this anyway.
Okay.
File types compatible with Speedgrader. Okay, that's in the chat tool. Now, to use this, in the happy event that you can, there's several different annotation tools that you have here.
Okay.
Up at the top. Here's a point annotation. You can just put your cursor anywhere in the document. He said, oh, there, it didn't take my instruction there. You get a little pointer tool. You just click wherever in the document you wish, and then you get a little box to make a comment.
Okay. So I'm going to have to ask you a backup question here. So where do you go to begin at the beginning to get to this markup?
I just opened the Speedgrader.
It's right there then.
It's part of the Speedgrader, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And if you don't see these tools up here,
right,
this whatever was uploaded or typed is not markable.
Okay.
So that's a point annotation. You can do a highlight annotation, which basically you just highlight word or phrase, and it automatically gives you a little comment box. And this is a highlight comment. I'll keep this. I'll use this as an example later. You can do a free text annotation, which I think you can do just anywhere. Yeah, you just click anywhere and type free text. Press enter. You can do a strikeout annotation. Just highlight or just click and drag across words, something that's clearly wrong, and then click on the little symbol for the document. This is a strikeout. This is a free draw annotation. So you can just draw arrows to something. comment.
So was that arrow up there you just did? Which one was it?
That's this one right here.
Is there
Looks like a little paint. Looks like a little paintbrush. So that's an arrow. Well, actually, they call it a free draw annotation. You don't have to draw an arrow. You use your imagination there. Or an area annotation. Like say you wanted to take this entire line here. You can make an annotation that covers like an entire paragraph in the document. You could annotate at one time. So this is area comment. And those are all your options that you have there. You just press enter. You will note that every one of those comes with a reply button.
Oh.
If the student gets this and has something to respond to, or has a response to make, they can reply to it, and you can come back in here at any time and see those replies.
Is that also true?
That might almost be too much communication, but there it is. You do have that capability.
Is that the same if you just do the assignment comment in the rectangle below at the bottom?
Well, no, this assignment comment is a global comment about the assignment in general. Here you are
Specific, yeah.
spotlighting specific words, phrases, or parts of the document and making comments, focused comments about that particular part of the submission, as opposed to a general comment.
Right, but what I mean on a general comment, can they respond to it? Is there a box that falls down they can respond to?
That's a good question. I don't think so. Let's see. I'll submit this. I submitted my annotations to the Speedgrader.
All right.
Or to the gradebook. Now, if I go back to the gradebook, that was a submission by my test student. So I should be able to see that by going into student view. Remember, your test student, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Your test student is a real student, basically. It can do everything it can do everything that a real student can do. And you can go back and look at it later, and you can see what that test student would see when they log in. Just as, and this is exactly what a real student would see, what an enrolled student would see.
Just go to that student view, yeah.
Yeah, because I can go into student view, go to, oops, let me go that far, go to home screen or the settings button in the course menu. Either place you can get into student view. In a menu over here on the right. Here I'm in student view. If I look at the grades tool, as a student, of course, all I see are my grades.
Right.
Not everybody else's, for starters. That's a question we often get. And here's that defined screencasting assignment. And here's a little discussion button here. If we click on that, there are the comments that I typed in, but there's no option to reply to them there. This is the rubric. This one happens to have a rubric, so they can see the rubric and see what kind of credit I gave them on each criterion in the rubric. Or they can click on the name of the assignment itself. And yes, they can reply with a comment of their own.
Okay, so, okay. I wonder if that's a good thing to tell them.
That's up to you.
And then will I be notified, or do I just have to go in and see if there are any comments?
That's a good question. Let's try it. First off, before I do that, the student can see your feedback that you marked up by clicking View Feedback.
Okay.
And that's how they see those annotations, and they can reply to those. I think. Thought they could do that from here, but it's not obvious they can.
Are you still in the student view?
Yes. I've got to look into that. My assumption was they could reply from here. That doesn't seem to be the case. I'll look into that.
Okay.
Let's see. Though it looks like they can create their own annotations. Yeah, they can. That's interesting. So they could remark this up, but let's say the student and save it. And then close the feedback. The student could resubmit the assignment from here. That is something they can always do, and you can't stop them from doing that. But let's see what happens if I add a student comment. And save that. Now the question becomes, do I get a notification? If I'm leaving student view there. The easiest way for me to check all my email accounts is on my phone. No immediate notification. But that may be because I have that turned off in my notifications tool. Let's go look at that. Get in through my account, my notification settings. Here are the various events that can generate a notification. It's possible that would have sent me a notification if I had grading selected. I'm just not sure. All submissions, submission comment, assignment submission comment. Okay, that would notify if the student set that on and you made a comment. I presume they would get a notification. I don't know if that also applies to the student commenting. If you turn that on, I don't know if you will get a comment or not, or a notification or not, but that's worth a try. And I'll test that when we have a chance here in a minute. I want to keep things moving along, but that's an interesting question I haven't had come up. So it certainly you can go back in and look at them later. But or the student could send you an email if they wanted to be sure that you got the notification saying I responded to your comment in this assignment. If you want to take a look or whatever. So that would be another way for that to happen. But I'll check that and see. These notifications are extremely arcane, and there are a ton of them. And you can get a lot of email from Canvas. This is one of the reasons I don't like to use my district email address with Canvas.
Right.
I can avoid it.
So there was one question about email, Dave. When I send an email through Canvas, it gives me the option of either sending it to each individual in the class or the class as a whole. Now, if I send it to each individual, I seem to get, I guess it gives you a list of what you sent, and then I get 30 or 60.
Right.
So don't do that.
Checking that box that says send each student an individual message
Right.
avoids you seeing all that and the students seeing all that.
Okay.
That basically means a blind carbon copy. Why they didn't call it that, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
that just keeps the students from seeing all the people to whom it was sent.
Right. Now, but here's the question. Then I get a list on my email of all the students who got that message, the same one.
Okay.
So I have, if there are like 30 in the class, I have, you sent this to this student, this student, this student, this student.
Mm-hmm. Do you get that if you click the box that says send each student an individual message?
Yes, that's when I get it.
That's when you get it. Okay, so that's the downside of that. Looks like you or they are going to get that whole list.
Okay.
So,
all right.
all right.
And there is no middle ground, like
No.
just, okay.
Those are your options are either check that box or not.
All right.
This is one of those situations where Instructure has decided that you get a limited number of options.
Okay.
And you have to live within those. And where some people might like to have different options, Instructure actively resists putting too many options in the canvas. Because if they did that over time, they'd end up with Blackboard instead of Canvas. And it would be a lot harder to use, particularly for new people just coming to it, students and faculty. And that is not their ethic. So that's just the way it's going to be with Canvas. There'll always be extra features we'd like to have that we're not going to get.
Okay.
But Canvas will remain, I think, much easier than Blackboard to use. So it's probably worth it in the long run.
Okay, great. Thank
okay. How about somebody who's just come in? Do we have some more questions here? You can type them in the chat tool, or you can just unmute yourself and speak.
Unmute myself and hold up my hand. I'd like to piggyback a question off of Kathy's first question about the student grading.
Right.
Which is this. In some types of test, it's the time that's very important. Suppose a student has an hour to write an essay on something. Okay. So what's to prevent and then of course the student's supposed to upload the correct file. Okay. But
right.
Suppose the student uploads a file that you can't grade. For some reason, the file doesn't fit the grading tool. What do you do in that case? You can't give the student more time to do the test than the other students had, and some students might intentionally or by accident, whatever. You see the problem this faces for the instructor.
Well, so let me deal with the first issue. What if you can't? What if the file won't display in the Speedgrader? What
Yes.
can you do? You can download the file.
Okay.
Let me get back to the Speedgrader here. And let me tell you what, Joe, we've got some background noise. I'm going to go ahead and do a global mute again, and you can unmute yourself. Thank you. So I can hear you there.
All right.
Okay. That's a useful technique in a Zoom meeting, because you will from time to time get background noise. You can just mute everyone, and as long as you don't uncheck the box that says allow participants to unmute themselves, then people can unmute and come back. And you'll have to do that from time to time. Okay, let's see. Let's go into that one we were in. Go to a gradebook and pull up an assignment. I can do that same one we did a minute ago. That wasn't it. There it is. Okay. Now this is one that did display in the Speedgrader, but let's just say you get to the Speedgrader and you look over here and there's nothing, or it says this file can't be displayed. There will be a download link for the submission file over here in the right-hand column of the Speedgrader with a little down arrow. And you can click that down arrow and Canvas will allow you, it will download, that will allow you to download the file and save it on your local hard drive. And then hopefully you'll have some application on your computer that will open it up.
Okay.
But it's possible you won't. Problem we used to run into a lot with students with Macs. They would do a file in Pages, the Office suite for the Mac that it was at one time anyway, it was free. And we would get Pages documents or an instructor who was working on a Microsoft PC would get a Pages document. And while you can configure, you could at that time anyway, configure Microsoft Word to open up that file, it was a pain. And some people weren't able to manage to open that. So you can, first off, instruct your students in the assignment instructions to upload the file in a particular format, like a Word document. And even if they are using something other than Word to type their documents out, most word processors will save a document in Word format in order to ensure compatibility with Microsoft Office. So even a student who's not using Microsoft Word, even Pages would save a document as a Word document. OpenOffice Writer, which is a very common free word processing program that's almost as good as Microsoft Word, can save a document in Word format.
Okay.
So you can require that of them. But what if they don't comply? Well, then you may end up with a document you can't open. I've dealt with a lot of those issues in the past. I have access to tools that I can usually open any kind of, unless it's a really strange document format, I can usually open it, convert it to a Word document and send it back to you, but that's inefficient. So what a Canvas allows you to do to avoid that situation is when you create your assignment, and let me just go to this define screencasting assignment here. One neat trick in the grade book is you can always get back to your assignment that's linked to this grade column by just clicking on the name of the assignment here, and it'll take you right back to the assignment page itself, rather than you have to go over here to the assignments tool and navigate to it. You can jump right into it. And I can edit that assignment. And when you set up your submission types in the assignment, and you specify, give the students the option to upload a file to satisfy the assignment, there is an option to restrict upload file types. And you have to put in the allowed file extensions that can be used. And you can put in multiple ones. Like if you want a Word document only, you would put in .doc, which is the old Word document extension from like before 2007. But there are some programs that will create that document format now that can't create the more modern Word document extension. So you can put a comma and put in another extension, which is period DOCX. So that will, if you put that restriction on, the students have to upload a Word document. Canvas won't accept it if they try to submit anything else. And then you'll get an email from the student saying, oh, well, let me upload. Did you save it as a Word document? No. And then you can give them instruction.
That's a good answer.
Okay?
Thank you.
Makes sense?
Yes.
My pleasure. Okay. Let's see. Dr. Olga, Vicky, anything you got? You can unmute yourselves.
Okay. Yes, I'm here.
Hi,
How are
Vicky.
you, Jay? Jay, can
Hi,
I miss
Dr.
the first? Yeah. Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Dave.
Hi there.
Yeah. How are you today? Dave,
Great.
I missed the first part about annotating the student's paper. Can you briefly go back?
Yes. Let's let me go to the grade book in this course here and pick an assignment that's been submitted. I don't have anything that I haven't already graded, but let me just pick one. I can show you the process. Well, I've just annotated that one 4 ways to Sunday. So let me pick another course here, I think. Let's go back to this one. See if I've got something here.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that one doesn't appear to have any students in it. Shoot. Okay, just a second. I'll find an example here for you in a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Go to the grade book. All righty, this looks promising. Let's find an assignment. There's one. Here's one that there's something wrong with this one. I remember. I'm not going to mess with that. But let's say this is an assignment I want to grade or regrade in this case. I just click on either the number or the point value that I've assigned to it before, or if I haven't graded this before, there'll be a little symbol just like this one. So I click either on the number or the symbol, whichever is there, and then click the little right arrow here to go to the Speedgrader. The Speedgrader, this is some other information about that assignment, including comments you may have already made. But to go into the Speedgrader, I just click here. And here is the assignment that the student submitted. And here's my grading and comment area over here on the right. But I can also, over here, I can make general comments about the submission. I can type a comment. I can speak a comment if I'm in Chrome. I can record a little video. But I gather your question is about how can you mark up the student's submission and highlight specific areas of the submission to make comments on. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the markup tool that you're interested in.
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's take a look at that. You have several. If you see these little tools up here in the upper right-hand corner of the document window, you can mark this document up. Not all file submissions can be marked up this way. For instance, if the student types their answer into a text box directly rather than uploading a file, you won't be able to do the markup like this. Or if the student submits a file type that is not supported by this viewer, you can't do the annotations. But you will know that by the absence of these little tools up here. If you see these tools, you can mark up the student's paper or their student submission. And there's several different types of markups you can do. You can do a point annotation. If you click on that, you get a little point symbol. And if you want to insert a comment right here in the document, you just click there and you get a little box to leave a comment. This would be a point comment. Just press enter. You have the option to do a highlight annotation. You just click that little tool and you can highlight a part of the phrase, a word or a phrase in the document, and click on this little symbol that pops up for a little document symbol, and that gives you another box, and that is a highlight comment. And you can type, I don't know what the text, practically you're limited to a sentence or two in doing this, unless it's going to fill it, otherwise it'll fill up the screen. It will be difficult for the student to display it. You can do a free text annotation. You can just put your cursor anywhere around the document and type free text annotations. Press enter to save it. So you could just, if this were a multi-paragraph document, you could put a free text annotation between two paragraphs or something like that. You can do strikeout annotations if there's something in there that's clearly wrong. There's not anything here that's really wrong, but I can just go over a word, drag over a word, click and drag over a word, and this is a strikeout. And there's a free draw annotation. You can just draw. You can circle things and type a free draw annotation. As you can see, this does get kind of busy if you do a lot of it. Or you can do an area annotation. You could like highlight an entire paragraph, and this is an area annotation. So you've got quite a lot of options there, and that gives you the ability to make much more specific and targeted comments about a particular element or a particular phrase or a particular part of their document. And you can, you can do almost anything here you can do with a blue pencil on a piece of paper. When you submit your grading feedback, and of course, you don't forget to enter a grade. Canvas won't let you forget to enter the grade. You can submit these changes, and this submission was submitted by my test 2 student in this. Let me check again and see what course this is, so I can go in as that student and show you how the student finds this. This is, okay, I know which course this is now. If I log out as me, and log in as my test student. That was this course. If I logged in as that student now, and this is a real student, I can click the grades tool, and the student sees only their own grades, not anybody else's, of course. And here's defined screencasting. It was submitted late. They're warned about that. They can, if they want to see that annotation, they can click on the name of the assignment and go to this button right here that says View Feedback. And there are all of your annotations. I can make this bigger. If I full screen this, they can expand that to give themselves a little bit more room. So there's a limit to, and I can scroll up and down to see all the annotations, though it does get a little more involved to see all the annotations if there are a bunch of them like that. And they can see which annotation is which. So that's how how you do that, and then that's how the student views it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you.
You bet.
I have another little question.
Okay.
When a student sends you a message and you reply back, who is able to see your response?
Who is able to see your what? I'm sorry?
Response. So all the students, only this particular student?
No, if I'm understanding the question correctly, the messages are private. Only you and the student can see the message.
Oh, okay.
No
Yes. Okay, that's what I want to ask. Mm-hmm.
It's just like email.
Mm-hmm.
In the regard.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
You bet. Vicki, do you have anything? You haven't had a chance to speak up yet? You're muted. You'd have to unmute yourself. Vicki may have stepped away. Okay.
I'm here.
Yes. Hey, Vicki.
Yeah, somebody called, one of my other teachers called me just now, so I'm sorry I did step away. And,
Oh, no, I do understand.
okay. So,
multiple communications channels can interfere sometimes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we got a weird email just this morning from the dean, so we were going to discuss it after the class.
Oh my, weird dean emails are never good. Sorry.
No, they're not, and they're sort of like 2 weeks late. So anyway, I'm having just continuous problems with trying to get my quizzes in, and
Okay.
And so before I had contacted you about the import of the test bank, and I wasn't being able to do that, but I think I finally got it in, but now I can't find it and I don't know what to do with it. That's number one.
Okay, well, do you mind if I share your course on the screen?
Yeah. Hold on just a second. Let me go back there. So,
well, I'll be happy to go in and take a look at it right now, if you don't mind me sharing your course on the screen.
No, I don't mind you.
Okay, good. Can you give me the CRN of the course?
Yeah, it's 29140.
29140. We will take a look at that. Okay, there you got your chapter module set up. That looks like a good start. Now, to find your test banks, and I got to tell you, the first time I tried to do this, I was stubborn. I tried for half an hour and I never found them. I had to go to Google finally and ask for directions. And you know how men hate to do that. So it was not easy to find. Don't feel bad. This is one of the things in Canvas that's maybe not quite as intuitive as it might be. They are stored under the Quizzes tool. So you have to click on Quizzes in your course menu. And
Now, those two,
and,
hold on just a second. I did
yeah.
copy and paste a couple of questions in. That's why it says there's two questions, 2 points. So that doesn't have
Well, that is a quiz.
Right.
And you can use that as a question bank later on.
Okay.
Canvas will allow you to pull questions from old quizzes to make new ones.
Okay. Yeah.
But your question banks per se are not, these are not your question banks. These are your quizzes.
Right.
Question banks are hiding behind this little menu button up here in the upper right that's not labeled and is just sitting there kind of quietly, making it easy for you to ignore it. But if you open that menu by clicking on it, then you get an option to manage your question banks. And this is where they live. If you click on that, we'll see, oh gosh, yes, you've got a ton of question banks in there. You uploaded just fine for you.
Oh, okay.
So, oh my gosh, you got a ton of questions. I'm just curious about this. Where did you get that? Was it from a publisher or a colleague or?
It was from the publisher. And
were they specifically identified as Canvas question banks?
Yes, they were.
Okay, good. They would probably, the question bank files are for Canvas and Blackboard are usually in the same format. So you could, if you have some old Blackboard question banks, you could probably import those as well. I was just curious what the provenance of this was, but you're in great shape. So let's say you'd like to use some of these questions in a quiz.
Yes.
You want me to show you that?
Yes, please.
You bet. I just need to go back to quizzes. Here I could look at the questions in the question bank, and I could move questions between question banks if I wanted to, and I could delete questions that I didn't want to use from them and whatnot. You can manage your question banks here just by clicking on the clicking into the question bank, and then you can go question by question, edit or delete. But to use them in a quiz, you go back to either the Quizzes tool or your modules. Looks like you're not using the module. You got those hidden. Well, no, because your home screen is still the modules. So you can either create a quiz right here from the module, new quiz, quiz name. I'm going to call this sample quiz, okay? So I don't mess up anything you have in there already. That's an L, not a semicolon, sorry. An add item. And now I can go in and edit that quiz and add questions to it. I just edit it. Then I go to the questions tab, and now I can add questions. And I can, of course, type new questions in, but I can also find questions. And that will take me to your question banks. I get a find quiz question box, and all of your question banks appear over here in this little left-hand frame. And you can use you can pull questions from any of them. Let's say you wanted to pull questions from your chapter 1 question bank. When you click on the name of that question bank, all of the questions in the question bank pop up. Unfortunately, you can't really, you just get the question text. It can be a little bit hard to tell what kind of question it is here. But, well, you can tell these are fill in the blanks. If they have, which of the following is not a way to create a formula? That's probably that's almost certainly a multiple choice question. So usually by reading the question text, you have a pretty good idea of what kind of question it is. But if you just can't tell, you may have to go back and actually go into the question bank where you can see the full display of the question. You can't.
I have the Word doc with a question, so I could match against that.
Or that, yeah, great. So you just pick the questions you want. You can pick any number, or you can select, if you want them all, you can select them all.
Mm-hmm.
But you pick a few, then you go all the way to the bottom, you get an option to add questions. And those 2 questions become a part of your test. And you can just keep doing that, and you can build tests in a big hurry. Since you have that extensive set of question banks, you can also create randomized tests for your students. And by randomized, I mean customized as well. You can set it up so that each student gets a different set of questions from a particular question bank, and have Canvas select them at random so that no 2 students get the same test in the same order.
Okay.
You can do that by creating a question group. You have to name the group, like maybe chapter 1 group, whatever makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to link that question group to a particular question bank. You have to tell Canvas, pull questions for this question group, pull questions from a particular question bank. And you can one group can only pull from one bank at a time. So we click there and we find the question bank that we want to pull from to populate this question group, which, let's say that was chapter 1, and you select the bank. And here it tells you questions will be pulled from the bank chapter 001 instructor test items. Good, that's what we want. Now you tell Canvas how many questions to pick out of that bank for each student. There were 90 some questions in that bank, so I can pick quite a few if I want to. Typically, you wouldn't want to pick more than, ideally, you wouldn't want to pick more than maybe half of the number of questions that are in the bank, because if you pick too much of the bank, then successive students are going to get similar selections of questions. There'll be a lot of duplication or a lot of overlap between the students' tests. There'll be a lot of duplication of the same question in different student tests. So let's say we wanted maybe 15 questions from that question bank. And we can set the point values for each question all at once rather than having to go back and do them one at a time, assuming you want them all to have the same weight, or you can set them one at a time later on. But now I just create the group. And it shows in your preview, in your edit view of the quiz, as a question group. And it doesn't show you the questions that are going to be displayed because that's going to be different for every student. So now if we save this test and preview it just to see what it's going to look like to a student, you get those first two questions that you added, you picked specifically from the test bank. Every student will get those. And yet here, the next 15 have been selected randomly. And every student will get a different set of those 15 questions. So by using question groups, if you have extensive test banks like you do, or question banks like you do, you can build a test in about 30 seconds. And it can have dozens of questions in it.
So
You're not, yes. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. So I see that it gives the possible answers, but do I have to go in and edit each question and put the correct answer?
You should not have to. Those should already be marked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I will tell you that, and I'm sure you've had this experience, that no question bank is perfect.
Oh, yeah.
So from time to time, you may get a bad question that has an incorrect answer, or it's just a bad question that's one that doesn't make a lot of sense. And so vetting those question banks, if you have time, is not a bad idea by any means. But on the other hand, if there's a problem, you can always correct it later and give the student, you can override the grade for a question and give a student credit if it's bad. You can even add fudge points to a test for every student. Like, okay, everybody should have gotten that question right. I'm just going to raise that question, raise everybody's grade by a point or something like that. You can do that. Just to make up for the for subjecting them to a bad question. They'll let you know. Someone will let you know if there's a bad question in there every time.
Oh yeah.
And you are not limited to a single question group in a test either. You can put in multiple question groups if you like. If you want to, if the test is like a final exam and it's covering the entire course, you could pull questions from all of your question banks by just adding another question group. And this might be a chapter 2 group. This information just to remind you where the questions are coming from. I don't know, the students never see that. You can link that to a different question bank to say chapter 2. Select that. And maybe you'll pick 3 questions out of that question bank at 2 points a question or 1 point or whatever. You create the group. And now that you can just keep adding groups to the test as long as you like. So you can build a final exam in about 5 minutes by just making question groups. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there were quite a lot of steps there, so I don't know if I got them all.
I know. I understand. I'm about to throw you a lifeline on that one, okay?
Okay.
If you go to our on-demand video site,
yes,
and search for question groups, Canvas, we have a tutorial that goes through what I just did a little bit more efficiently. Actually, I have 2 of them. Gosh, I'd forgotten. I made 2 of those. Okay. You can look at either one. I may go in and take one of those out later and keep the more recent one, but that's how to use question groups in Canvas.
Okay.
So that'll take you, that will show you, that'll basically go back through exactly what I did for you. You can watch that at any time you want, as many times as you want. And I'll let me put the link to that one in the chat tool. I had kind of, Katie Palacios and I created this site years ago, and I think both of us had kind of walked away from it for a long time. I retired and she took another job, so it kind of laid fallow for a while. But we're adding new content to it now, so it's up to date. We've taken out all the old Blackboard tutorials and things like that, and we're putting in Canvas tutorials and Zoom tutorials and stuff every day. So that's a good place to go when you're looking for the answer to a question. Or you can always just go to Google and type in how do I give each student a different test in Canvas. That didn't exactly give us what we wanted. So I didn't phrase that question well. I can just type, how do I use question groups in Canvas? There you go. How to create and use question groups.
Okay.
So
Great. Thank you so much.
anything you want to know about Canvas, you can usually find from Dr. Google as well, if you're in a hurry.
Thank you
But
so
this
much.
site, these are tutorials that we have built that are localized to our site. So everything will look familiar and so on.
Great. Thanks so much.
I have
My
a follow-up
pleasure.
to that one.
Very good.
Okay, so how do I make, you may have covered this, how do I make my own test bank?
How do you make your own? No, I didn't. And that's a good
Okay.
question. You certainly can do that. If you can't get something from a publisher or from a colleague, you can go into Manage Question Banks in Canvas. You go to the Quizzes tool. The hard part is remembering where the question banks are, to tell you the truth. And then go to the little menu button and just to the right of the Add Quiz button in the Quizzes tool, and select Add or Manage Question Banks. And on that page is an option to add a question bank. It's in the upper right-hand corner. You click on that, and you have to give the bank a name. Oh my gosh, I'm doing this in Vicky's course. I'm sorry, Vicky. I'm going to stop right there.
No problem.
I'm going to stop right there and go to one of my sandbox courses. I forgot where I was. That's all right. I forgot what I had for breakfast already. Let's go to a safe course. Apologies. So again, I go to Quizzes, Manage Question Banks, and I can add a question bank, give it a name that's descriptive so I'll remember what I put in it. I'm just going to say my question bank because I'm not feeling especially original. Just press enter to save the name. Then you click on the name of the bank, which is a hyperlink now. And this is an empty bank. I know I just made it, but there's an option over here to add a question.
Okay.
And then I just add questions. I can add any of these question types to it. It's usually more convenient to have a question bank that has only one type of question in it. So when you go to select them later, you can select, if you want to give students only multiple choice questions or only essay questions in a question group, you can do a random selection and be sure that you get the right type of question. So it's probably wise to create your question banks by question or segregate them by question type. Create a multiple choice bank for a particular chapter and an essay bank for a particular chapter. Or if you don't care, just put them all. You can put them all in the same bank. So you just create questions in the usual way, and you just add them to the bank. Does that answer your question? Are you good to proceed from there?
No, that answers my question, but here's a really basic question.
That's what I'm here for.
What is a hyperlink?
A hyperlink is the.
You know, this is coming from Kathy, right?
No. This one goes back to like 1990. A hyperlink is the basis of the way the World Wide Web works, basically. The language of web pages is called hypertext markup language. Hypertext is text that contains hyperlinks. And hyperlinks are just links to content that are not in your current document.
Okay.
So a web link is a web link in a document is a hyperlink. If I, for instance, if I were writing a question in a current affairs course, I might tell a student to go to the CNN website and read and critique a recent article. I'm just making this up as I go along, obviously. Article on the coronavirus pandemic. Okay. This would be an essay question, obviously. But if I don't want them to have to leave here and pull up the CNN website, I can just highlight the words CNN website, and I can use my little chain link tool here, which is usually called a hyperlink tool. Canvas calls it link to URL because that's a description of what it does. But this creates a hyperlink. You click on that tool and you give the, you put in the CNN website URL. I pick CNN because it's easy to type and insert that link and update the question. Now when the student comes to that link, it comes to that question,
Cool.
all they have to do is click on that link and bang, the CNN website opens up right next to Canvas up here in their browser. They can find an article, read it, and then go back to Canvas and continue.
Wow.
So that's one example of a hyperlink. There are any link in a web page that leads you to someplace other than that web page is a hyperlink.
Okay.
And that's basically how the World Wide Web works. That whole idea was devised by Tim Berners-Lee back in the early 90s. And it's turned into an amazing thing. I have a video. I still have a video that I did from that time.
So I can follow up.
Yes, please.
A lot of these symbols are things I've never seen before, and even when you click on them,
which symbols?
like if you went back to the rich text.
Right. Okay, there we are.
Okay, so, well, there's the hyperlink. What's the one to the right of the hyperlink?
That is remove a link.
From
if you
where,
decide, oops, I did it wrong, so I could just highlight this and remove the link.
Okay, all right. And the one to the left of the hyperlink?
Okay, if you mouse over any of these, just point at them,
Uh-huh.
it
They'll
will
tell
give you a little title,
Right.
but that may or may not contain enough information.
That's right. Like hyperlink.
Right, exactly. Well, this one does at least say link to URL, so it describes what it
Okay.
does.
All right.
You
good.
don't have to know that's a hyperlink. If you understand what it does, you're
Right.
fine. But this tool, for instance, is usually used to embed video into or so you can embed other types of audio and things like that as well.
Uh-huh.
This tool allows you to put pictures in, embed image. This tool allows you to type mathematical formulas.
Okay, let me see that. Okay, that's great.
It's not the most sophisticated or powerful math editor that you've ever seen, but it's functional.
Let's see.
And you have all of these symbols you can put in and so on automatically.
Okay, so you could do logic on this, I see.
Yes,
Good.
there are logic symbols there and so on. Maybe not enough, but they're there. There's some there anyway. The YouTube tool allows you to actually search for videos on YouTube and embed them into your course very quickly without having to go out to YouTube separately and find the video and all that. So
All right.
this allows you to embed content from the Commons, the Canvas Commons,
Oh, all right.
directly into your page.
Uh-huh.
This one is more external tools. If you click on that, you've got Google Apps and Vimeo activated system-wide, so you could pull something from a Google Doc or something like that in.
Okay.
This tool allows you to record a video. Have you seen that one before? I don't know.
I don't think so.
If you click on that tool, you can record a video right from within Canvas. I have multiple cameras attached here, so it's a little more complicated for me, but it won't be for you in all probability. Okay, here's my little this is a second camera. It's actually my document camera, but I can use it for this as well.
Uh-huh.
It's not a great camera for this purpose because it's not optimized for recording motion video like my main webcam would be. But my main webcam is tied up in Zoom right now. Usually webcams can't be shared between applications, so I'm having to use this camera that's not really designed for this, but it'll work. Also, I have to be sure that the Canvas is hearing me, that my sound is going through, and that's what this little bouncing bar tells me is happening.
Right, yeah.
Should you not see that, you can select a different microphone. You may just have a sound source selected that's not active. And there are sometimes multiple sources on your computer that you're not aware of. So just look and see if you can find a microphone that will work. And then you just start recording. Look at the camera. Hi, everyone. This is a short talking head video recorded using the video recorder tool in Canvas. Very convenient. When you're done, you click Finish. You can preview the video. Hi, everyone. This is a short talking head video recorded. You notice that it's a little choppy and the lip sync is not great. That's more a function of the camera I'm using than it is the tool. It'll look better if you use your main webcam.
Okay.
Or your good webcam that's designed for that sort of video. And when you're done, you just click Save. You can give this a name if you want to, but it's not required. You can just save it. It takes a second, and then a little placeholder appears in your Canvas page.
Oh.
If you say, or in your question. That's right, we were in a question here, I forgot.
Uh-huh.
You can really make complicated questions this way. So if I update the question, the student can play that back. Hi, everyone. This is a short and you can do that anywhere you have the rich content editor.
Okay.
Not just in a test question, obviously. You can do it in a Canvas page, in a discussion post, in an announcement.
Oh, good.
Anywhere that you see that rich content editor. So that's another one of those. Let's go to the rich content editor again, see if I left out anything here. No, that's pretty much it. The rest of these are just standard text editing kind of.
They're familiar, yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Dave.
My pleasure. Anybody else?
Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you go back and repeat how to create this hyperlink? Huh? Again,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No.
I apologize.
I know sometimes repetition is the soul of learning.
Yeah,
It
repetition
works.
is mother studiorum. Yeah, you're right.
Well, it always helps to hear it more than once. And that's one of the foundations of learning theory. I mean, there's no doubt that hearing it more than once helps. Absolutely. Let me just make a page here. And we'll have a nice clean page to work in. I'm just going to call this a demonstration page. I can use this to demonstrate various things here. A hyperlink is, again, a link to content outside of, in this case, outside of Canvas, outside of the document or the web page that you are reading at the current time. It can be another web page in the same site, or it can be something totally different out on the internet. Hyperlinks have to have that are placed in a document have to have what's called an anchor. Something for the student or for the viewer to click on in order to activate that link and hop to wherever we want to go in the on the web. And that anchor can either be some text or it can be a picture, are the two most common likely things. So I can just type some text, like saying, I can type, this is a hyperlink. A link to a URL, which is how Canvas describes it. That's what a hyperlink is. But if you want the student to be able to click and go somewhere, here you can just highlight the text you want to serve as the anchor for the hyperlink and click the little link to URL term, the tool, and you can link, you can put in any web address, any URL, anywhere out on the web. For instance, maybe the Zoom website. Maybe you wanted to take someone to the Zoom website. You could go to the Zoom website and you could find the URL for the Zoom website, which is real simple, zoom.us. And just copy that to your clipboard. Go back to Canvas and paste that in this box. And then insert the link. If I save this document now, when a student or anyone reads that, they can just point to this hyperlink, this underlined blue text, which is standard notation for a hyperlink on the web. That standard was set in the 1990s. If they click on that hyperlink, bing, they go to Zoom, because that's what I linked to. So that's one way to create a hyperlink. You can also link to a picture. Like I could, I think I have the Zoom logo somewhere stored on my computer. I could insert a picture using the embed image tool and load that picture onto Canvas into the course files and upload the file and look for it. On the PC, I can search for it. Zoom free logo. There we go. That's probably it. Open that. That uploads it. Type in my alt text. I promised my friends in the DSPS services offices that I would, whenever I uploaded an image to Canvas, I would always show myself putting in alt text, because if you don't put in that alt text for that picture, a blind student using a screen reader is not going to know what it is. All right, there's the Zoom logo. I can select that logo in my rich content editor, and I can make it the anchor for a hyperlink. I'll paste in that same hyperlink again, insert it, and save the document, save the page, web page, Canvas page, same thing. And now somebody viewing this document could click on that picture and go to the Zoom website.
Oh, oh.
So that's just kind of a nifty little, oh no, did I close Canvas? Oh, I did. Didn't mean to do that. That's all right, I can get back in. I sure did. And that was in, I think this one, this course, in pages. Yeah, there's my demonstration page. I'm back to where I was. So you can make hyperlinks. You can make text or pictures into hyperlinks, or make them serve as anchors for hyperlinks. Did I answer your question, Olga?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Good.
On the page, can you go quickly quickly and cover the symbols again?
In the rich content editor?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's one that allows you to insert a table, which is a way to govern where things appear on the page, but don't get too attached to that symbol. Canvas is about to replace the rich content, or update the rich content editor, and I think they're going to remove that table tool because it can generate web pages that are not accessible for blind students. Okay. So I think they're going to pull that capability. It's not used that much anyway, I guess. This tool allows you to embed video. The Insert Edit Media tool is usually used to let you embed video into a page or whatever you're creating. This rich content editor, again, is available when you're making discussion posts, announcements, test questions, and other places within Canvas, as well as being used when you create Canvas pages or edit Canvas pages on the system. This is your hyperlink tool we just saw. This tool allows you to remove hyperlink. If I didn't want this to be a link to Zoom, I could remove the hyperlink from it. This tool allows you to insert pictures. This tool, this is a math symbol editor, allows you to insert mathematical symbols and formulas into a Canvas page. The YouTube tool allows you to search for and embed YouTube videos into your Canvas pages or other documents. without having to go
Can
out.
you repeat again?
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat again? Can you repeat again? This one.
The YouTube tool allows you to search for videos on YouTube. It was being a little cranky yesterday. I'm not quite sure why. So let's see. Let's say I want to search here for videos about the quadratic equation. And press enter. Oh, it's working today. Good. Here are YouTube videos on how to solve the quadratic equation. And there are lots of them. It's amazing what you find on YouTube. And there are more than that. But let's say you found one of these videos that you were particularly fond of. You can preview them right from here too. You can click there and preview it. And play it and see, oh, is this worth having? If you decide it is, you can embed it quickly into your Canvas page or your discussion post or your announcement or whatever. And you can do small, medium, or large. You can just try that trial and error. And there's a video embedded into your Canvas page. Let's make this a little bigger. I wasn't very careful about where I embedded it. So let's see if I can clean that up a little bit. Get down here. No, I don't want to play the video. Thank you. Not right now. Yeah. There, I think I got one down below the other and so on. And you can center the video embed or whatever. You can make it smaller or larger than that. So that's how that tool works. So it's if you're generating instructional content, an instructional page for your students, and you decide, boy, I'd like to have a video that illustrates what I'm talking about here, you can just go to YouTube and use videos from all over the world. And you can build the content into your course in a big hurry using this tool. You can insert content from the Canvas Commons or other external tools using these. You can record a video, as I showed earlier. So that second tier of tools in the rich content editor will allow you to do. And Canvas is about to add some more. As I say, they're about to upgrade this rich content editor. It's already quite powerful and quite reliable. And they're about to improve it, we hope. If we don't like the new one, I think we can turn it off and stay with the old one, but I think we'll probably like the new one. Okay.
Dave, I have a follow-up on that.
Very good.
If you go to a YouTube and find, a little video that you want to implant here.
That implant will work, yeah.
I'm going to have my own computer jargon. Do you have to give credit to whoever gave that, or is it automatically given to whomever put it on YouTube?
If you embed it like this, the students won't see the name of the creator.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that, no. It would be a courtesy.
Yeah.
And the students can find that out because they always, if you embed something from YouTube, they always have the option to go to YouTube and play it.
Oh, okay.
Which gives them some extra capability when they're playing it. So here it is on YouTube.
Did you know memory foam was developed in 19... Of
course, they're also going to get in this case, they're going to get the ad too. But here's the person or organization that put it up there. And they have 456,000 subscribers to their channel. They must be pretty high speed, low drag kind of stuff. and so that information is accessible to the students. It's just not automatically displayed to them when you do an embed.
Okay.
But I think also, if in the embed though, I don't think they have to watch the, let's see.
I would like to show you how to use this calculator.
No, they don't have to watch the little commercial up front to see it.
Yeah.
In another thing that, well, no, that's, I'm not going to get into that. I was about to go down a rabbit hole. I'll refrain.
No, thank
Let
you.
me let you ask the questions, and I won't try to anticipate them so much.
Okay.
Let's see. I've got a couple of questions in the chat tool here. Let me go back to those. Kathy, we've dealt with that one that
We
you
dealt
put
with
in.
all that, yeah.
Okay, here's a good one. I was wondering if you have any best practices for practicing with Canvas quizzes that I have downloaded from the Commons. I'd like to have my my test student and other test students take it first so that I can see how the grading, etc., will work. I don't want to publish the quiz to the entire class until I've smoothed things out. Suggestions. Well, my suggestion is that you do what you said there. You're absolutely right. You should always check a quiz out before you turn it loose on your students. And the easiest way to do that, let me save this. The easiest way to do that is just to go into the quiz. Let me see what I have here. I've got a 3-question quiz here. It'll be good enough. Let's see if I put that in a module and made it and published it. Yeah, I did publish it. There it is. Okay, it is published. So I can go to Student View by going to your home link on your course menu and selecting Student View over here. And I can go in as my test student and take that quiz. And apparently my test student has taken this quiz before, and I didn't give multiple attempts, so I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to become me. I'm going to have to edit that quiz. And I'm going to go to details, and I'm going to allow multiple attempts. So
And you
that I
said
can
this
show
isn't,
you.
it's not published yet, the quiz?
It is published, but the student had already taken it.
But how do we do it without our other students taking it?
Well, no,
Without the
that was my test. That when I go into Student View, I'm acting as my test student. And I had done that with this quiz before.
But your quiz is published, and doesn't that mean that the rest of the class can see it? Not just you?
Yes.
And I don't want them to see it or take it or
And you
message
don't
it.
have to have it published. No, that's not true. If I don't publish it, my test student can't see it either.
Right. I just
can.
figured out, in the meanwhile, I think I'm going to try it from a repository course, a fake course, and I added some people to that.
That's a good idea. But there you can use your test student.
So that's what I was doing. And then I actually was sending the quizzes to my CT first, and they couldn't see it until I gave them designer status.
Correct.
Is there any way that
If
I
it's
can
not,
see?
if it's not published, they can't see it unless you give them teacher status. Canvas calls it. Yeah.
Okay. What about, is there a way for me to track which ones I have? So I'm having a hard time because I've downloaded a bunch of them from Commons and I preview them, but there's no way. They're all living in this repository course, and I'm struggling to see how to organize them in a way where I can tell which ones I like, which ones I don't. Or is there any way to see which ones I have already shared with the CTs or not?
You can tell if any attempts have been submitted for those quizzes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell if they've just looked at it.
Or like, you know how we have record of what emails we've sent. When I'm sharing things in Canvas, like something I encounter and I share it with another instructor or a CT, is there any record of that?
If there is a record of any messages you sent through your inbox tool. Yeah.
Right, but is there an analogous record for other objects I've just shared, not sent necessarily?
Not really. No, there are
Okay.
some analytics that you can look at and get aggregate information and so on, but I don't think you can see specifically who's looked at a particular quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at that and see. Maybe I'm wrong. I go into the analytics tool. Whoop. This course isn't published, so there are no analytics. Let me go to another sandbox course here. Go into analytics. Do that over here too. And I can go to course grade. And I can pick a particular quiz. No data, no data. No data. Yet that's been taken. No data. It still doesn't tell me who took it. Just tells me how often it's been viewed.
Okay.
I can go and look. If I have these, if you have your different colleagues enrolled in the course as students or teachers or whatever, if they've actually taken stuff, actually they have to be, I think for you to see this, I think they have to be enrolled as students. You can go to a particular student, let me close that, and you can do you can get some basic activity here, but you can also go to those folks under people, click on the name, and then click on the name again here in the little panel that slides out, and you can get an access report, which does show you what they've looked at.
Okay. Access report. Okay.
With some, gives you some information, but basically it's going to be pretty tedious, and you're not always going to get exactly what you want.
Okay. But thank you. This was helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All righty. You could always put the ones that you've already sent to people in a separate module in the
So move them to a
repository.
new module.
Yeah, you could just go and create a module for viewed tests.
Yeah.
Or sent tests.
Okay. Okay.
And then drag those down when you send a link to it out. Drag it down into that module so you remember that you've sent it.
Well, actually, that's the thing. Can I share my screen really quickly?
Go right ahead. Let me unshare mine.
Thanks. I'm gonna get to this. Oh, I'm there. Let me get to it and then I'll share real quickly. This is the it's the organization of the. If you have tips on that, that would be really helpful on.
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you. Here we go. Okay. So these are the quizzes I've imported, and I can't drag them. I don't feel like I can drag them anywhere, and that's what I was wondering.
So you're in the quizzes tool.
Right. So when I imported them from Canvas, I imported them to quizzes in my repository.
Of course, yeah, that's fine. I'm trying to figure out why it won't let you move those around. Yeah, click the menu there, see if you get a move option. No, just send to or copy to. What would that be?
Oops.
That just expands and contracts your display. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, fine. Huh. That's curious. I mean, it doesn't affect anything, but you could embed a link to these quizzes into a module, and those links you can move around within the modules, and that would allow you to keep track of it.
Yeah. How about, do you mind do you have time? I don't know if you have time for, no. Yeah. Cause I was going to revisit how I even imported them, because I'm trying to minimize my clicks, right? Cause I've been clicking so much to look at them. And then, so creating a link isn't worth it as much. I mean, I could rename them maybe, you know, but yeah, if you have time, I was thinking of another work through, but I don't want to take up everybody else's time. So
It's fine with me. I'm
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other people who would benefit from it too. So go ahead.
Okay, so now I'm going to go to back and just import some new ones from the commons, and maybe if I import them differently, then I can shuffle them more easily. So I've been searching for, right now I'm going to search for, let me think, what do I want to search for? Let's see. Functions quizzes, and then filter by quizzes.
Good.
And then I think that's decent. Oh, actually I'm gonna refine it some more then. Filter by quizzes, and I guess I'll just go function, evaluate functions. Oops.
Yeah, the art in this is designing the keywords, picking your keywords to get what you want.
Yeah,
That
that's
just takes
how
practice.
that's unfortunately that's how my
There's
brain works anyways. But so I'll
okay.
click through and then I'll see like, okay, you know, this one looks okay, I think. Yeah, this one looks so
Pretty cool.
it looks a little more rigorous or funky than what I want my students to have to do. So maybe I'm gonna do, oh, I like this one. So back to search. It's hard to find the level that is consistent with what
Yes.
I'm doing.
Though
and what
remember,
I'm
you can always edit it once you get it and take
Yeah,
out
well, that's the
questions
thing
you
though. Some
feel
of them are going to be easier to edit than others, right? And that's
right.
the
Yeah, you want to get one that requires the least possible editing. You're right.
Yeah, but these are all written with different types of, like, some of them have the math especially, some of them have like either it's hard, the objects and just the structure of the questions varies
Right.
quite a lot as well.
Just
So,
it's not the way you do it, so you don't want
or
to
just that it's
subject
harder
that
to edit, right? Because I am not at the level where I can write my own Canvas quizzes yet, but I'm trying to at least take advantage of some that are already written.
Well, if you're editing quizzes as sophisticated as this, you're
Really?
pretty
No,
close
I'm
to
easy
being able to
ones.
create your own.
So I guess the only option it gave me there was to import it to the course. So now I'm assuming it lives in quizzes.
That's where it should be.
Yeah, so, and they come in published, which is so weird to me. So that's why I can't even import them into the actual class. But from here, I have to filter
Well,
through.
as long as you unpublish them right away, the chances of someone getting into it while you're doing that are
Yeah.
pretty remote.
That's true. But I did that to see if there was another way to organize them. But I don't think and they don't live anywhere. They don't live under assignment. Do they live under assignments? Maybe then I can.
Yes, they actually do live under assignments as well.
So maybe I can drag this way.
So now there you can move them around. Yeah.
Okay, so that answers my question. Cool. This is how I can. I'll just review them from within here, and then I can move them around.
Yeah. The assignments tool lists all gradable assessments in the course. All quizzes, all homework assignments, and all gradable discussions.
Yeah.
The quizzes tool only shows you the quizzes. So
Okay,
that's the distinction. Let me see. You know, I'm not absolutely certain that you're supposed to be able to move those quizzes around the quizzes tool. Let me look. I may have just glossed over that in my mind. I'm pulling that up on another screen here and taking a look.
Okay, thanks.
I may have misinformed you. Wouldn't be the first time I've gotten something wrong. No, that's true. Yeah, you're not able to move things around in the quizzes tool. My bad. But you can in the assignments tool. That's normal. Sorry.
Okay, so that's this is
Never
I'm
noticed
so happy
that.
though, because I have
Because I don't use the quizzes tool much. I put everything in modules and arrange them in there. So
I see.
that's okay. So good. You can move them around in the assignments tool. And by the way, the order that they appear in the assignments tool governs the default order that they show in your grade book.
Okay, thanks.
So
So then now my last question, I hope, is since all of this has to be happening in my repository course, what do I need to do to make sure this repository course stays alive as long as I need it to in the district, you know?
no one will ever touch your repository course unless you ask them to.
But I don't think I created as, I just like renamed one of my other ones as a repository.
It's still.
Okay, cool, thanks. They don't touch
No,
any of our courses?
we're not touching any courses. The only ones we might ever remove would be old ones that had students in your live courses.
Okay.
Maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, they may start removing some of those just to lower the load on the system.
Okay, cool.
But if they do that, surely the best practice would be for them to archive those courses before they do that.
Oh, okay.
And you can archive your course, back it up at any time, and keep your own copy of it just in case.
Yeah, right? Okay,
You do
thank
that,
you so much. This was super helpful.
you bet.
Have a great day, everybody.
Actually, you pretty much answered your own question with just a little prompting. But as we all know, that's the best way to learn, because then
Amen. I keep trying to tell my son that.
you remember what you figured out on your own. So that's great.
True. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
Thanks.
All right. That was some good information. Next, we got plenty of time left.
So I have another question, Dave.
Cool.
So I have 2 sections of the same class. Do you use the same method for moving things from one section to another? Is it, that I've seen quite a few times? So assignments, pages, discussions, do they all move in the same manner?
Yeah, they just move from one course to another and appear in the new course.
I mean, the same manner in which you showed us to do things in the past.
Yes, you would do that the same way for anything. It's just a matter of what you select to actually move.
Right.
And you always have the option to either move all of the content from one course shell to another, or selected content.
Okay.
And that process is always exactly the same. And we do have the tutorial online for that as well.
Yeah.
In the on-demand site. Just search for Canvas and copy, and you'll get that tutorial. But you've done that several times apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did that repository shell come from?
She just repurposed one of her development shells, I think, and renamed it and called it her repository.
All right, because I had never seen it. Okay, all right, I got it.
No, that's something you can always call the Canvas faculty support number and ask them to make you such a shell. Okay. And they would do that, or I can do it. It's like an archive. Anybody with administrative access to the system could make you a new shell. There are maybe 4 or 5 of us at the district who can do that.
Is that like an archive?
I'm sorry?
Is that like an archive shell?
Oh, how to archive a shell?
No. Is that like an archive shell?
I'm sorry, the sound is just a little garbled, Joe. I'm having a hard time.
Is it like an archive shell? Is a repository shell like an archive?
It's just a shell that the students are never going to see.
All right.
You can put anything into it you want.
All right, and the students will never see.
And archive, yeah, in a sense, you could call it an archive shell as well. Mhm.
All right, thank you.
Indeed. That's just a matter of semantics.
All right.
Words do matter.
Word.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I have tricky question probably. So I created an exam about a week, maybe even 2 weeks ago, and I was sure that exam is available for my students, but finally I discovered that there are no questions for the exam, and I did it manually, and I'm sure I saved the exam. Is there any ways to recover the exam or to find what I did 2 weeks ago?
Well, we can look at the exam as it exists right now.
Mm-hmm. I can share my.
Can you? Yeah, you can share your screen if you like.
Okay, and I have this one because now I try. Okay, this is my canvas. So I try to go through the modules, through the quizzes, because the title lecture exam 3 is available on grading. So, but okay, let me show you modules. And I thought the quiz is no.
That looks good.
Yeah, but it's not lecture exam here. So this is the modules are here, and at the end I placed the exams. So I moderated
this is the exam in question.
It should be, and I believe, but it's nothing here, and I can open. So I moderated the dates today actually, but when I click edit, I don't see any questions, nothing. Am I on wrong place, or can I do anything?
No, you're in the right place. Scroll back up the top if you would. There should be a questions tab up there.
Yeah, but it's not here. They're not available. But when I created exam, I probably did it from the quizzes option.
Yeah, that shouldn't matter. I'm looking at this here. So display grade. Can you scroll down a little further?
Mm-hmm.
This is not a quiz.
Yeah.
This is not a test. This is a homework assignment.
Yes, it looks like it's homework assignment, but okay, I can click quizzes.
Yeah, go to quizzes and you'll see your quizzes. And I see a lecture exam number 3 up there.
Yes, but once
and
again,
this is a quiz.
Yeah, but I don't see my exam.
Now edit this one, and let's see if you have any questions in this one. It'll tell us 80 points. There are no points, so it begins to look like there may not be any questions here. But let's go to edit here, if you wouldn't mind.
Edit.
And at the top, we have a questions tab this time.
That's right.
Because this is a quiz object.
Yeah, but it looks like
there are no questions in here. You're correct.
Yeah. But I can show you the grades, but it doesn't matter actually. The grades, they have the title, Lab Exam 3. And I know I did it manually, and I spent actually several hours.
But the part of the problem here I see right off the bat is that you have both a homework assignment and a quiz labeled lecture quiz number 3. So that could lead to confusion. If they both have the same name, you could link either one into a module and not realize which one was which. Though the little symbol beside the link in the module would warn you that one was a quiz and one was an assignment. But still, the issue here is that this exam doesn't have any questions in it. and they have to be added
Yeah, so,
either by
but
manually typing them in or by pulling them from question banks.
that's right. So I did it from the quizzes, but I have discovered that I don't have that quiz, and I know I saved that. So I know this is a tricky, probably question is, but can we somehow to recover from somewhere? Is it safe somewhere or?
If it's not currently visible in your quizzes tool,
Uh-huh.
it no longer exists in Canvas, and there's no way we can get it back, unfortunately. Let's look at your quizzes tool again to see if you might have made it more than once. Let's scroll all the way down and make sure. No,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, that whatever questions
So
you
I need.
put into that, I see a practice lecture exam number 3A and 3B, and those do have questions in them.
All of them exist, and all of them except people have an access to all of those. But the quiz, the exam number 3, I start to create before I had my knowledge about how to do that, and maybe I really miss it somewhere. So
Yeah, because
mm-hmm.
that one you can see, the one at the top that says lecture exam number 3, we can see right here that there are no questions in that because there's no number of questions listed just underneath the name there. So that one is just
but if I will,
blank.
So if I will start from the beginning to write the questions, is this the right place to do that? Do I need to remove all the?
Yes, you're in the right place to add questions to the quiz. You just click edit and go to the questions tab.
So just start from
and now you just start adding questions. Do you have any question banks?
Yes, but I did it actually in simple way.
You just added them one at a time?
Copy, I had a copy of exam and I just added, one at a time.
So you just click new question and add the first one and then add another and another.
Yes.
That should work, and that should be saved automatically. You don't have to, no, actually not, come to think of it. I misspoke. When you finish, at the bottom of the test, there's a save button. Be sure that you save the test as a whole before you leave it. That might be what happened. You might have added all those questions and then not saved the test before you left. And that would cause this to happen.
Yeah, it might be.
It's the only way I can think of you might have ended up with a test with no questions after you added a bunch of them to your test. So just be sure before you leave the test that it is saved. Though usually Canvas will warn you if you're creating a page or a test or an assignment and you try to leave it without saving it, usually Canvas will warn you and ask you if you really want to leave. So hopefully
I believe I saved it, I believe, but something happened wrong for sure.
I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer for you as to where that might have gone. I'll just say that it's very, 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 very rare that Canvas would lose content. It's a very stable, very reliable system. That content, I've been using it for 3.5 years and I've yet to see a content item vanish that was saved.
Well, okay.
So that's all I can tell you. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's good talking to you anyway.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thanks.
Okay.
Dave, I have a follow-up question.
Very good.
So when I go to the course that you looked at earlier, it had a quiz with 2 questions in it, right? Do you remember?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so it had two questions that I typed, that I copied and pasted and typed in the answers. And then I tried to add a third, a fourth one, and it looked like I added them, but they didn't, they go up. Now, why are the first two? Also because I didn't save it. Should I have said update question?
Yes, you have to
down
update
on the bottom.
when you finish the question. When you finish editing the question, you have to click update question. And then when you finish adding questions to the test, you have to save the test before you leave it. Otherwise, Canvas won't retain it.
Because I pushed save by mistake, that was
Yes.
it. Didn't let me add.
That is certainly something you can do. And I have done that myself. Right in the middle of a demonstration, as a matter of fact. So yeah, it's easy to forget to click update question before you click save.
Oh.
And if you don't, Canvas throws the question away. And I have done that more than once.
Dave, I lost you. I had to reconnect.
Oops, sorry about that.
Whatever.
By the way, have you all
what
been hearing me
happened.
clearly? Have you all been hearing me clearly?
Yes,
Good.
I have.
I'm sorry?
I have.
You have.
I have.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vicki, your audio is warbling a little bit, which can indicate some traffic on your local ISP's network or something like that. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't happening on my network up here, in which case nobody would be able to hear me clearly. The internet is under ferocious strain right now, and so is Zoom.
Right.
And we're all just sitting here with our fingers crossed, hoping that it holds up. I had some real problems in Zoom 2 days ago in the morning, where it was very difficult for people to hear me for a while. So please, whenever you're in one of these meetings, if you have any trouble hearing or seeing anything, let me know right away. And
okay.
I'll do it again. But yeah, probably what happened there is that you didn't click update question before you click save to save the test. And I've done that way too many times myself. That's an easy way to lose a question in a test that you're building.
Okay.
And I don't have a good, since I haven't been able to cure myself of it, I'm afraid I probably don't have any real good advice for you either.
So could I click on the keep editing this and then add, because
yeah,
yeah,
you should be able to continue to add questions to it.
All right. I'll try that.
All righty.
I have another question, Dave. It's kind of follow-up. When we were talking about grading, and there's that option if you're in Chrome to do verbal grading, to do audio grading.
Verbal comments.
Comments. So do the students have to be in Chrome to hear them?
Actually, the students will not hear them. The little option you're talking about actually converts your speech to text. And they will read the comments. It just saves you having to type the comment.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
You bet. You do have also the option, though, of recording the little video for them.
Right.
And they will be able to hear that, yes. If they have speakers. They can hear that they can play it on their smartphone and hear it.
Is Chrome always the best way to get into both Canvas and Zoom?
Yeah, probably so. Chrome is by far the dominant web browser in use today. And when people design things for the web, they design for Chrome. And then as an afterthought, they try to make sure it also works with Firefox and Safari and Edge and all the other options. but
Yeah.
they usually design first for Chrome.
All right.
So Chrome is generally the safest browser to use.
Thank you.
You bet. Great questions this morning. I think these sessions are probably as valuable as any of the
Oh, I do too.
the presentations, because you get your particular questions answered. And even if you're not the one asking the question, it's quite possible you'll learn something anyway. So this is great. Keep it going as long as you like.
I know I'll have another 100 questions, but I don't have them right now.
Well, I'll be here tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
From 1:30 to 4:30, I think it is.
Right.
Nominal. I'll start at 1:30, and I don't quit until people run out of questions. So
I have a question. I have a question.
Joe?
Yes.
Go ahead.
When the student sends you their answer, their essay, and you're annotating it, does that change the document that they send to you? Because they could say, okay. So they're actually sending you a read-only document.
Well, not really. No, but the original copy of that document will remain in your Dropbox. You annotating the copy in the Speedgrader or the display in the Speedgrader will not change the original document. So you can always go back and get that if you need to, and prove to the student that it's still the same one they uploaded. And in fact, they can, once they submit a document, they can always download what they submitted as well to see what they put up there. But in the Speedgrader, if I share my screen here for a second, in the Speedgrader, there should be something in this one. I need to clear out my sandbox courses here. Yeah, here's some stuff. Here's a, let me find that assignment again. Oh shoot, I do not have any submitted assignments in this course. Need to build out my sandboxes a little more here. See what I've got here. Just want to show you what this looks. There's a submission. If I go to the Speedgrader, you get real used to that after a while. Here's the like I can make an annotation here, do a highlight annotation. I can be hair splitting over terms there. Okay, so I've put a notation in that one, and they can see which one that goes with by the color. And I've saved that. But I can still download the original document that the student sent to me up here. And I'll put that somewhere where I can find it. Let's see. Let me make a folder. Canvas submission. This is just for me, so I don't forget what this is. Downloads, probably not downloads. And save that file. And Chrome gives me a little biscuit down here that I can use to access the file. Now, if I bring that back up and show that to you, that came up on another screen here. Let me drag it over for you. There's the original document, and it doesn't have that annotation in it. Was that your question?
So in other words, they can't say, well, you changed my submission.
No, they can't. You can demonstrate to them that you still have what was in the original file that was uploaded.
Thank you.
They can say it, of course, but you can refute it. There's no telling what they will say. Good. Further questions?
I have a question. It's pretty cool the way you finish a session and then to my email goes a note saying the recording of your session is ready to download, and then I click on it and it downloads to my desktop.
Okay. This is if you recorded your Zoom session to the cloud, right?
I just put record when I was doing the same session. Click record.
Yeah. And this is with a Confer Zoom account?
No, I don't go in through Confer Zoom.
No, I mean,
yes, it is a Confer Zoom account.
It's a pro account you got from Confer Zoom. Yeah. Okay. The default behavior in that meeting is to record to the cloud. If you want to record to your local
desktop, because I don't want to clutter my desktop.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't click on it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Okay.
It's up in the Zoom cloud, and you can get the link to it and provide the link to your students.
Okay.
So you don't have to download it. The reason they give you that link is that there is a limited amount of storage in that link. And those video files are quite large.
Yeah.
And you have like a gigabyte of storage space to use. And a gigabyte sounds like a lot, but it's not with video. One video could conceivably be a gigabyte in size. So eventually you may run out of space.
Okay.
On that.
And
you may have to download some of those and put them up on YouTube or something like that to keep them. So that's why it's sending you that link.
Okay, but it'll always be on the cloud if I recorded it.
Yep. If you recorded it to the cloud, it'll remain there, and you should be able to access it at any time. The main reason I don't use the Zoom cloud is that I'm a little concerned about its long-term viability. So far, it seems to be holding up fine.
Right. Yeah. But
Zoom has held up quite well. So has the internet, much better than really people expected. Until you think back and remember that the internet arose out of a project at the Defense Advanced Research and Projects Agency, DARPA, that was designed to provide a communication medium that couldn't be knocked out by a nuclear attack.
Wow.
So the internet's fairly robust. It was designed to be from the start. And so far, the coronavirus hasn't managed to take it out either. And we'll just have to hope that that continues.
And then I have another question, and that might be out of the scope. This may be too basic about computers.
No. I'll try anything I can answer.
Okay.
I'll try in these sessions.
So I'm trying. Well, actually, I'm having two screens on, my iPad and my laptop, and sometimes my Mac on at the same time.
Cool.
So on one of them, I'm trying just to see the students.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, I can use my little thingamajig to do my whiteboard and all that.
Right.
Okay, now you talk about moving from bring something from one screen to the other. How do you do that?
Okay, because all three of my screens are attached to the same computer.
Oh.
It's one device.
Oh, okay.
Instead of multiple devices.
All right. All right.
Most, like your laptop, undoubtedly has an external monitor port on it for like using it with a projector.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be either a VGA port or a display port or an HDMI port, something like that. You can buy an HDMI cable and a second monitor, and you can plug that into your laptop and have a second monitor for your laptop.
Whoa. So it's an HDMI what?
Well, I'd have to see the connector on your laptop to know what it is.
Yeah.
But the HDMI connector is kind of a little trapezoid shaped connector.
But I could tell them my model that I have.
Or you could just take a picture of it and send me the picture, and I can tell you what it is and what kind of cable you need.
And so that'll connect the two desktops.
It'll connect. You could buy a second monitor and connect that monitor to the laptop using that cable. And with a simple, picking a simple option in Windows, or is it a Windows or a Mac?
It's a Mac.
A Mac.
Well, wait.
I know that will work on a Mac. I'm not familiar with I think it'll probably just work automatically. And you can plug in that second monitor, and then it'll probably automatically extend your desktop to both monitors. And you can drag windows from one monitor to the other like I'm doing here.
Okay.
And you can stage windows on one monitor and have them ready to use, and then just drag them in when you're ready for them.
Thinking. That would be cool.
It is very handy. I tell you what, let me just do a quick Google search here and make sure I'm not leading you down the garden path. And this is a Mac laptop, right?
It is. It's an Air.
Mac Air. Okay, great.
Yeah, Mac Air.
All right. Multiple monitors. Mac Air. How to connect MacBook Air to two monitors. Yep, you can do that. Here, I'll send you the YouTube video.
And then, I mean, can my iPad be the second monitor? I need something that's just a monitor.
Maybe. I have seen apps and hacks that will allow you to do that, but it's going to be a lot simpler just to have a second monitor.
Okay.
And you can get those for $100 or something like that.
Right.
They're not very expensive these days.
Right.
Chances are, as a matter of fact, you could probably go to a local thrift store and find one.
Okay. All right.
Just make sure it has the right connector on it. I've picked up monitors in all kinds of places, but let me send you the link to this video first before I forget, which has definitely been known to happen. Multiple monitors. I couldn't imagine you couldn't do that, but I just wanted to be sure. On Mac Air. There's that. Okay, there's that link. Now, if you were looking for a monitor, my favorite place to buy equipment, computer equipment and video equipment, and not pay full price, is called Tech for Less. It's a remainder, open box, refurbished vendor that I've dealt with for years and years. And they've always treated me very well. They're reputable. The stuff, I've only had problems with something they've sent me once, I think, and they were very good about returning it. They're reputable.
What was the name of the vendor again?
Tech, T-E-C-H, Tech for Less. I'm putting it in the chat tool right now.
Okay, all right.
Including the address.
Thank you.
You bet. They're based in Colorado Springs. And I've had really good luck with them. So I bought my wife just the other day. I bought my wife a 32-inch monitor for her computer for like $120 or something like that. It was an open box. Somebody had bought it and probably used it at a conference or something like that, and then returned it, and it couldn't be sold for new, so they sell it off to these people, and they sell it. But it came with a full, their open box deals come with a full manufacturer's warranty. So it's like going into Best Buy and buying it, but you can get quite a bit better price sometimes. And if you sign up for their little email distribution list, which they'll prompt you to do, every couple of days they send you an email with a bunch of special deals, and you can scroll through it and say, oh boy, that looks good. I bought a color printer from them for less than $200 one time that I'm still using years ago. A color laser printer at that, not a inkjet, a laser printer. And it was wonderful. So I buy most of my computer stuff and video and audio cables and things like that from them, because they're often the best deal on the web. And they're reputable. You don't have to worry about getting stiffed.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
You bet. Anything else? Don't see anything new in the chat tool, so. Well, if you don't have anything else right now, I will be online again tomorrow afternoon from 1:30 to 4:30. And you can always email me. This afternoon, I'm finally going to have a few minutes. I'm not going to be online, so I'm going to have a chance to hopefully get caught up with my email. So now's a good time to email me if something comes up. And I can always make you a little video on Snagit or Zoom, for that matter, and send it to you to answer a question. And I'm happy to do that. So I will see you again soon, I hope.
Thank you, Dave.
You're most welcome. Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
I'll see you all again. Bye-bye.